Nvidia is one of the most valuable companies on Earth, the undisputed king of the hardware that powers the artificial intelligence revolution. Its market capitalization has soared into the trillions, built on the back of graphics processing units, GPUs, that have become the essential tool for training and running the world's most advanced AI models. Yet, for all its market power and technological prowess, Nvidia manufactures nothing. Its entire physical empire, every single cutting-edge chip that underpins its valuation, is brought into existence by a single, indispensable partner, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC. This codependent relationship has been one of the most profitable in modern business history, a perfect synergy of design and fabrication that has defined the AI era. But a dangerous paradox now sits at the heart of this partnership. TSMC's other premier clients are a who's who of Nvidia's greatest rivals, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. These cloud titans, or hyperscalers, are locked in a ferocious battle for the future of computing, and they have all come to the same conclusion. Their reliance on Nvidia is a strategic vulnerability. In response, they are spending billions of dollars to design their own custom AI chips, powerful silicon tailored to their specific needs. And the company they have all hired to build these weapons is TSMC. This has created an unprecedented and perilous dynamic. The world's most important manufacturer is now caught in the crossfire of the AI arms race, contractually obligated to arm all sides. How did this high-stakes codependency arise? And is TSMC presiding over the slow-motion assassination of its best customer? The assault on Nvidia's dominance is not a distant threat. It is a full-blown revolution in silicon, happening right now inside the world's largest data centers. The custom chips emerging from the hyperscalers are not experimental side projects. They are formidable, purpose-built weapons, meticulously designed to unseat the reigning king. The first shot was fired by Google. As far back as 2015, the company internally deployed its first tensor processing unit, or TPU. It was an application-specific integrated circuit, ASIC, a chip designed from the ground up for one purpose: to accelerate the neural network calculations in Google's own TensorFlow software. The TPU has since evolved through 7 generations, each marking a significant leap in capability. The first version was limited to integer-based calculations, making it suitable for inference, the process of running an already trained model. But with the second generation, Google introduced floating-point capabilities, allowing the TPU to handle the far more demanding task of AI training as well. Today, Google's silicon is a powerhouse. The 5th-generation TPU, the V5P, delivers a staggering 459 trillion floating-point operations per second, or TFLOPS. And the recently unveiled 7th-generation chip, codenamed Ironwood, is projected to reach an astronomical 4,614 teraflops. These chips are not just standalone components. They are the heart of a deeply integrated system, woven into the fabric of Google Cloud, and powering everything from search results to Street View text processing. Amazon's strategy is a masterclass in precision. Instead of a single all-purpose chip, it developed a specialized duo to attack both halves of the AI workload. First is AWS Trainium, a chip purpose-built for one thing: the high-performance, cost-effective training of massive AI models. Its counterpart is AWS Inferentia, a chip meticulously optimized for high-throughput, low-latency inference. This clear division of labor allows Amazon to fine-tune its hardware for maximum efficiency at every stage of the AI lifecycle. The performance claims are aggressive. The second-generation Trainium 2 chip delivers up to 4 times the performance of its predecessor and, crucially, offers 30 to 40% better price performance than Nvidia's comparable P5 instances on AWS. Meanwhile, Inferentia 2 provides up to 4 times higher throughput and 10 times lower latency than the first generation. For Amazon, this isn't just about technological bragging rights. It's a direct assault on Nvidia's pricing model and a core part of its strategy to defend its 32% market share in cloud computing by offering the most affordable AI infrastructure on the market. Microsoft's entry into the custom silicon race, the Maya 100 AI accelerator, is perhaps the most holistic. It was conceived not merely as a chip, but as a key component of a fully, vertically integrated system, co-designed with the entire Azure hardware stack. The Maya 100 is an engineering marvel, fabricated on TSMC's advanced 5-nanometer process and packing 105 billion transistors. But the chip itself is only part of the story. Microsoft designed custom server boards to house it, specialized liquid cooling sidekicks to manage its thermal output, and tailor-made racks to fit perfectly within existing Azure data centers. The entire system is connected by a custom, high-bandwidth Ethernet-based network protocol designed for massive scale. The strategic goal is unambiguous: to create a perfectly optimized environment for Microsoft's own enormous AI workloads, namely Microsoft Copilot and the Azure OpenAI service. By controlling every layer of the stack, from the silicon wafer to the cloud service, Microsoft aims to achieve a level of performance and efficiency that is impossible when using off-the-shelf components. It is the physical manifestation of their silicon-to-service philosophy. These custom chips are not a monolith. Each is a mirror reflecting the core business strategy of its creator. Google's TPU is a product of its deep, research-driven culture, a vertically integrated marvel designed for technological superiority. Amazon's Trainium and Inferentia are weapons of commerce, engineered for cost leadership to defend AWS's market dominance. And Microsoft's Maya is the ultimate enterprise solution, a final puzzle piece designed to deliver a stable, powerful, and seamlessly integrated platform for its corporate clients and its world-changing partnership with OpenAI. To understand the chips is to understand the company's fundamental battle plans in the cloud war. The decision by the world's largest technology companies to pour billions of dollars into the fiendishly complex world of semiconductor design is not driven by vanity. It is a cold, hard calculation rooted in three powerful and almost irresistible economic forces: cost, performance, and control. At the hyperscale level, artificial intelligence is not a luxury. It is a utility, as fundamental as electricity. The computational cost of running billions of daily searches, generating countless product recommendations, and powering conversational chatbots like ChatGPT represents a monumental and ever-growing operational expense. At the center of this expense is Nvidia. The company's top-of-the-line GPUs, like the H100, are the gold standard for AI, but they come at a king's ransom. A single H100 chip can cost anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000, and with profit margins for Nvidia estimated to be as high as 1,000% on some AI hardware, the cloud giants are essentially funding their competitors' dominance. For a company operating a handful of servers, this premium is a necessary cost of doing business. For a hyperscaler operating millions, it is an existential threat to profitability. This is why their claims of savings are so dramatic. Amazon asserts that its Inferentia chips can deliver AI inference at up to 50% lower cost than comparable GPUs. Internal estimates suggest Google's TPUs have reduced its cloud operational costs by 20% to 30%. This is not a marginal improvement. It is a fundamental restructuring of the economics behind their largest and most important business segments. The economic argument extends beyond the purchase price to the long-term cost of operation. The key difference lies in the architecture of the chips themselves. A GPU is a general-purpose graphics processing unit, a powerful and flexible tool akin to a Swiss Army knife, capable of handling a wide variety of tasks. A custom chip, or ASIC, is an application-specific integrated circuit, a high-tech scalpel designed to perform one specific task with unparalleled efficiency. For the repetitive, high-volume workloads that define hyperscale AI, like running the same recommendation algorithm millions of times per second, an ASIC can achieve vastly superior performance per watt. This metric is critical. Data centers consume as much electricity as small cities, and cooling can account for up to 40% of that energy use. A more efficient chip translates directly into lower electricity bills, a smaller physical footprint, and a more sustainable operation, a crucial advantage when scaling to planetary levels. Perhaps the most powerful driver is strategic. The generative AI boom of the last few years laid bare a stark reality for big tech. Their future growth was almost entirely dependent on a single supplier. This reliance on Nvidia created immense vulnerabilities, from the risk of supply chain shortages to the lack of control over their own technological roadmaps. Developing chips in-house is a declaration of independence. It gives these companies direct control over the design, features, and supply of the most critical component in their infrastructure. It allows them to integrate hardware and software with a level of optimization impossible with off-the-shelf parts. In a world of increasing geopolitical instability and supply chain fragility, this move toward technological sovereignty is not just a competitive advantage, it is a strategic necessity. This shift from general purpose to specialized silicon is not just a tech trend, it represents a natural phase of economic maturation. The pattern closely mirrors the evolution of cryptocurrency mining. In the early days of Bitcoin, miners used flexible, general-purpose GPUs. However, as the mining algorithm, a standardized repetitive computational task, became the sole focus, the market was completely taken over by ASICs designed to do nothing but that one algorithm with extreme efficiency. GPUs were rendered obsolete for that specific task. The same economic logic is now unfolding in AI. As certain workloads, particularly the high-volume task of inference, become more mature and standardized, the economic case for specialized ASICs becomes overwhelming. It is an almost inevitable shift driven by the relentless pursuit of efficiency at scale. Nvidia's GPUs will likely remain the tool of choice for research, development, and the training of novel AI architectures, the exploratory phase of AI. But the massive industrial-scale production phase is now gravitating toward custom, optimized silicon. At the center of this global power struggle stands a single company, whose unique business model makes it both the indispensable partner to all and a silent arbiter in their conflict. To understand the frenemy dynamic at the heart of the AI industry, one must first understand the foundational doctrine of TSMC. The modern semiconductor industry was effectively born in 1987 when Dr. Morris Chang founded TSMC. Before TSMC, the industry was dominated by integrated device manufacturers, or IDMs, like Intel. These companies did everything. They designed their chips, they manufactured them in their own factories, or fabs, and they sold them under their own brand. Chang introduced a revolutionary new concept, the pure play, or dedicated foundry. This was a company that would do only one thing: manufacture semiconductors for other companies. Crucially, a pure-play foundry would explicitly not design, market, or sell any chips under its own name. TSMC would be a neutral factory for hire, a forge for the entire industry. This simple but profound principle is the most important core value at TSMC. It is the promise that enabled the rise of the entire fabless semiconductor industry. Companies like Nvidia, AMD, and Qualcomm could now focus exclusively on designing the world's best chips, without needing to spend the tens of billions of dollars required to build a state-of-the-art fabrication plant. They could do this because they had an ironclad guarantee. Customers entrust TSMC with their most valuable and sensitive intellectual property, the digital blueprints for their next-generation products. This is only possible because of the absolute trust that TSMC will protect that IP and will never use that knowledge to become a competitor. Their success is their customers' success. This foundational doctrine now places TSMC in an extraordinarily difficult position. Because its entire business model is predicated on serving all customers equally and without prejudice, it cannot play favorites. It cannot refuse to build Google's TPU. It cannot turn down Microsoft's order for Maya 100, even if those chips are designed explicitly to undermine the market position of its largest and most profitable customer, Nvidia. TSMC's neutrality forces it to be the arms dealer to all factions in the AI war. This is not a new challenge. The company has long had to perform a delicate diplomatic dance, managing the intense rivalries between its most powerful clients, such as the fierce competition between Apple and Samsung for smartphone supremacy. A historical example of this high-stakes balancing act was the 40-nanometer crisis, where TSMC faced production issues that severely impacted both Nvidia and its rival AMD. To maintain trust and repair the relationship with its key partner, TSMC's then CEO Morris Chang personally presented CEO Jensen Huang with a compensation package worth hundreds of millions of dollars, cementing a partnership that continues to this day. This history demonstrates the lengths to which TSMC will go to uphold its neutral status. It is a silent, powerful force in the industry, profiting from the conflict while being bound by its own principles to fuel it. The company's greatest strength, its pure-play model and unwavering neutrality, is simultaneously its greatest vulnerability. This doctrine has earned it the trust of the entire industry and a commanding market share of over 67% in the foundry market. However, this very neutrality creates a significant structural risk. TSMC's continued success hinges on maintaining a delicate equilibrium, serving fierce competitors at the same time. Its biggest threat is not a technological failure, but a geopolitical or commercial conflict that shatters this delicate balance. If a major dispute, whether between nations like the US and China or between corporate titans like Nvidia and Microsoft, were to force TSMC to choose a side, the consequences would be catastrophic. The losing party would be compelled to shift its business to a competitor like Samsung or Intel Foundry, and the perception of TSMC's neutrality would be broken. This could trigger a cascade of customers losing faith, fearing that TSMC might one day be forced to choose against them. Therefore, TSMC's most critical and continuous task is not merely fabricating wafers, but performing a constant, high-stakes diplomatic mission to balance the competing interests of its powerful, warring clients. While the rise of custom silicon presents a formidable challenge, Nvidia's throne is not so easily usurped. The path to chip independence is paved with immense costs, daunting technical hurdles, and profound strategic risks. For the hyperscalers, this revolution is a multi-billion-dollar gamble, and the outcome is far from certain. Designing a state-of-the-art chip is one of the most complex and expensive engineering endeavors in human history. The initial non-recurring engineering (NRE) costs are astronomical, running into the hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars for a single design. The process is punishingly long and unforgiving. A single microscopic bug in the design can force a tape-out to be scrapped, resulting in 9-month delays and mountains of wasted capital. Even with a flawless design, the manufacturing process itself is a monumental challenge. The transistors on today's chips are just a few atoms wide, pushing the very limits of physics. The costs of research, development, and capital expenditure for the semiconductor industry are growing at an unsustainable rate, making it a game only the wealthiest players can even attempt to join. The most significant barrier to entry, however, is not hardware, it is software. This is the core of the skeptic's argument and the foundation of Nvidia's defense. The real challenge is not just building a faster chip, it is building the vast and complex software ecosystem required to make that chip useful. Nvidia's CUDA is not merely a piece of software, it is a deeply entrenched ecosystem, the product of over 15 years of relentless development. It comprises millions of trained developers, thousands of highly optimized software libraries for every conceivable AI task, and deep, native integration into every major AI framework and application on the planet. For any competitor, catching up is a combinatorially explosive challenge. They are not just competing with Nvidia's internal software teams, they are competing against a global army of open-source developers, academic researchers, and enterprise engineers who optimize for Nvidia hardware first. As one analysis puts it, the software team at a competing hardware company is always outnumbered, perpetually fighting fires and falling further behind a moving target. The final risk is the blistering pace of innovation in AI itself. A custom ASIC, by its very nature, is optimized for a specific task. This provides incredible efficiency for a known, stable workload. But in a field where revolutionary new model architectures can emerge in a matter of months, that specialization can quickly become a liability. A custom chip designed for today's large language models could be rendered obsolete by tomorrow's breakthrough, leaving billions of dollars of silicon as little more than expensive doorstops. General-purpose GPUs, in contrast, offer flexibility, the ability to adapt to whatever comes next. This has led many analysts to express skepticism about the true threat to Nvidia's dominance. Some argue that the hyperscalers will eventually pull back on their massive AI spending, that the CUDA software moat is simply too deep to cross, and that Nvidia's growth will continue unabated. Others take a more nuanced view, suggesting that while Nvidia's overall market share will likely decline from its current 80 to 90% peak, the AI market as a whole is expanding so rapidly that there is room for both Nvidia and the custom silicon providers to thrive. Ultimately, the build versus buy decision is a high-stakes bet on the future pace of AI innovation. In choosing to build their own chips, the hyperscalers are making an implicit wager that the fundamental nature of AI workloads will stabilize and become predictable. If they are right, their hyper-optimized, cost-effective ASICs will give them an insurmountable economic advantage. Nvidia, on the other hand, is betting on continued chaotic innovation, a future where radical new architectures constantly emerge, demanding the programmability and flexibility that only their universal platform can provide. Faced with this internal rebellion, Nvidia is not standing still. The company has launched a multi-layered counteroffensive designed to shift the very terms of the competition. Its strategy is to make the performance of any single chip irrelevant compared to the power of its entire integrated platform. Nvidia's first line of defense is its most formidable, the CUDA software ecosystem. The company understands that CUDA acts as a powerful software gravity well, creating immense developer lock-in and prohibitively high switching costs for its customers. The company's 2025 strategic plan explicitly prioritizes the defense and expansion of this moat. The strategy involves aggressively growing the CUDA developer community, expanding its Inception program to support thousands more AI startups, and launching comprehensive AI curricula in partnership with universities around the world. The goal is to ensure that the next generation of AI talent is trained on and loyal to the Nvidia ecosystem. Nvidia's more proactive strategy is to redefine what it sells. The company is transitioning from being a vendor of discrete components to a provider of a complete, end-to-end platform for building and deploying AI. As CEO Jensen Huang declared at GTC 2025, Nvidia is now in the business of enabling AI factories. This platform approach has several key pillars. First is a relentless hardware cadence. Nvidia has committed to an annual rhythm for new product releases, a pace designed to make custom silicon obsolete before it can even gain market traction. The Blackwell architecture is now in full production, with the more powerful Blackwell Ultra on its heels. And the next-generation architecture, codenamed Vera Rubin, is already on the public roadmap for 2026, promising another massive leap in performance. Second is a focus on software integration. A key announcement has been the launch of Nvidia NIMs, which stands for Nvidia Inference Microservices. These are pre-built, highly optimized software containers that allow developers to deploy AI models on Nvidia hardware with just a few lines of code. NIMs abstract away the immense complexity of the software stack, making it radically simpler to use Nvidia's platform than to build a custom solution from the ground up. Finally, Nvidia is tying everything together into a full-stack solution. A modern enterprise customer doesn't just buy a Blackwell GPU. They acquire a fully integrated DGX server, deploy AI models using NIMs, and manage their entire workflow through DGX Cloud. It is an Apple-like ecosystem, a tightly woven platform of hardware, software, and services engineered for maximum performance and, crucially, ease of use. With this strategy, Nvidia is fundamentally changing the definition of performance. The hyperscalers are competing on chip-level metrics like teraflops and performance per watt. Nvidia's counter-move is to make those metrics less important. The company's keynotes and product announcements now focus less on the raw speed of a single chip and more on system-level benchmarks like time to solution and the overall productivity of a developer on their platform. The argument is a powerful one. Your custom chip may be 20% more power efficient for one specific task, but our integrated platform allows your developers to deploy 10 different cutting-edge models in a fraction of the time with higher performance across the board. In this new calculus, the value is not in the silicon, it is in the velocity of innovation that the entire stack enables. This strategic pivot reframes the debate, shifting the battlefield away from an area where Nvidia is vulnerable, the cost per chip, to one where it remains utterly dominant, the software and system ecosystem.